Okay, let's talk Mac Jones. He had a very interesting performance. He started off really bad. He missed his first 5 throws, and he's so interesting because after the game, he's like, "Yeah, I was really nervous. I had a lot of nerves, and it's something I have to work on, like my confidence." When do you hear pro athletes talk like that? And if they did, you'd think, "Boy, this guy's not gonna make it." But he's so, like I think it actually indicates a lot of confidence that he can talk about his lack of confidence. Does that make any sense? So he said he had nerves, and he said he's been working all offseason on breathing, slowing down his pulse by with breath control. It's pretty good. Seemed like it worked in this game. And then for about, I don't know, 2.5, 3.5 quarters, 3 quarters, he was he looked like a really good like, there were a lot of starting quarterbacks around the league today who didn't play as well as Mac Jones did. And yes, he was facing a bad team, although the Saints played the Cardinals tough, but still, he was playing a bad team. He didn't have his tight end. He didn't have his number 1 wide receiver, and there were about 3 quarters there where he was playing he lights out. I mean, he did fumble the ball in the, pocket. He said it himself, he held on to it too long. He did not play a perfect game, but I can't remember the last time Brock Purdy played a perfect game. They didn't need him to play a perfect game, and still, he threw for 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. How many teams have a backup who can do that? Jimmy can't do that. He's a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. And he's cheaper than Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's younger than Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's more mobile than Jimmy Garoppolo. He had a couple scrambles in this game that legitimately had me worried because I want to cover a competitive team, and if he goes down, this season is over, at least until Brock comes back. But he had some really nice scrambles. He's more mobile than you think, although he's still like a statue compared to Brock. But I mean, it didn't really affect him. He held the ball a long time, but he had a long time to throw. And his first touchdown pass was a little dump off in the flat to Luke Farrell. Nothing special about that play. Then the second touchdown pass, the one to Christian McCaffrey in the corner, that was a hell of a throw. I mean, if Colin Kaepernick could have made that throw, the Niners would be Super Bowl champions, or he'd be a Super Bowl champion. He threw it to a running back in the back corner of the end zone. That was nice. And then the throw over the middle to Jennings was 3rd and 10. It might have been a no-look pass. He got the linebacker leaning the wrong direction and then stuck it over the middle. Like, I'm not saying Mac is better than Brock because he's not. He's not. But that throw, those 2 throws, his arm is better than Brock's. Now, a lot of quarterbacks who aren't as good as Brock have better arms than Brock. So that's not really saying a ton, but you saw it in this game. There are just certain throws that this guy can make that Brock really isn't going to make as consistently, especially post UCL surgery. Brock used to have more zip than he has now. And since he came back from that elbow injury, the arm's been a little bit weaker. He's still a hell of a quarterback. Still wins. But I just don't see how Brock would have played any better in this game than Mac. Maybe he would have. Mac got sacked 3 times and he fumbled. Maybe Brock avoids those sacks. Maybe Brock doesn't fumble. His pocket presence is so good. Better than Mac's. But what we've seen with Brock the last year or so is he takes risks with his arm. He throws the ball into coverage. And I felt like Mac didn't do that today. He didn't take unnecessary risks. I thought Brock took unnecessary risks against Seattle, although that throw to Tonjes was a necessary risk with the game on the line, and it was just a freaking awesome play by both Brock and Tonjes. I know my dad's watching. He cringed when I said awesome. I don't use that word. I don't like the word awesome. I apologize, Dad. I like Mac Jones. And if what's interesting to me is Kyle has proven he can do this. He doesn't need quarterbacks who are the best in the world, the most expensive in the world. His system plus his weapons plus a quarterback who can execute his system can do pretty well. Don't need to spend a ton of money on it. So that's the good news with the Mac Jones start. Also, again, he won. He played so well. There is no pressure. How you doing? There's no pressure on the Niners to rush Brock Purdy back out there. He could take another week. He could take 2 more weeks. As long as Mac keeps winning, Brock can keep sitting, until he's really 100% healthy, because the last thing they need him to do is make the injury worse, because they do need Brock. They do need Brock. And I think it's funny. My dad talked about it before the season. They were gonna need Mac Jones at some point this year. Most quarterbacks get hurt at some point. All of Kyle Shanahan's quarterbacks get hurt at some point. They were gonna need Mac Jones. Interesting that they needed him in week 2, and it's great that he stepped up. Now, I mean, like, they can win without their starting quarterback. They can win without their starting tight end. They can win without their number 1 wide receiver. Can they win without their starting left tackle? I don't know. Can they win without McCaffrey? I don't know. But all of a sudden, it's like the season doesn't necessarily depend on Brock Purdy the way it did last year. Everything was on Brock. He had to be special, and he had to be durable, and he couldn't really consistently do either one. Now, if he's in, great. If he's not, season isn't over. All hope isn't lost. It's a great place to be. That's where Bill Walsh was all the time, right? He always had a really, really, really good backup quarterback, and last year the Niners didn't. Now they do. That's huge. That's huge. I mean, every time the Niners have gone to the Super Bowl, last few times they've gone to the NFC Championship game, they've had a really good backup quarterback. PrizePicks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 for playing. Use promo code Cohn, C-O-H-N, and download the app now. This guy with a lot of letters says this game was too close. I thought it was just close enough. I liked it. Dan says, Mac 10 to the rescue. My mama want to know why I do what I do. Me too. Will says, let me get a return of the Mac. There it is. Return of the Mac. Top of the world. Return of the Mac. Up and down. You know that I'd be back. I have one more thing I want to say about Mac Jones. S. Dot says Purdy, money, or O-line, and Mac Jones better investment. We'll talk about that in a second. What's interesting about Mac Jones is after the game, all the players were so happy for him. And when I was in the locker room, they said, "Hey, Mac Jones to the podium," and all the players were like, "Yeah, Mac 10, Mac Jones, woo, Mac Jones." They think I don't know if they think he's hilarious, but I think he keeps it light, even though he has his own demons that he's struggling with, confidence and stuff. He seems to have a self-deprecating, light touch that comes across. They call it swag. The kids call it swag. He has a lot of every player. Man, I feel so good for Mac. He's got so much swag. He really, really believes in himself. He's a lot of fun. We like playing for Mac. Not that they don't feel that way about Brock. I just feel like they say different things about Brock. Like, Brock's so on it. Brock's so serious. Brock's really, got the attention to detail. I wonder if Brock is a little tight in certain moments. I mean, early in his career, he was blowing teams out. It didn't matter. And last week, he was so good in the clutch. But last year, he wasn't. And I wonder if it was like his legacy, his contract, his this and that is a lot. And with Mac, it's just like, man, I'm a freaking failure, or at least that's what people think about me, even though I'm not. I'm really good. Let me go out and prove that I don't suck. And it's a kind of a fun place to be, because clearly he knows he doesn't suck. Team knows he doesn't suck. And he proved it today. Everyone's happy for him. As opposed to, man, I got to prove that I'm worth $53 million a year. I got to prove that I'm one of the 7 best quarterbacks in the league. None of that baggage hangs over him. Just one thing I noticed. Dangerous Dave says, keep killing it, G. I said don't pay Brock, play Mac. My dad also said before the season started, hey, man, I don't think they need to extend Brock Purdy. I think they should have a quarterback competition between Mac and Brock. That was my dad who said that. He was right. Tyler Bill says, Grant, do you think Mac would have won last week? I do think Mac would have won last week. I think Brock would have won this week. The defense gave up 13 points last week. I don't think it would have taken. I think a lot of quarterbacks would have won last week. Yes, Seattle's defense is good, but Brock threw 2 picks. Maybe Mac would have thrown 2 picks. Maybe would have fumbled 8 times. I don't know. But I think he would have won. I think he could have led the offense to 14 points in that game. I do.